that's what it is. So that's also really cool, but it's a great counter to the Faceless Void,
Yes.
either with the Earth Splitter or just even threatening with the
Stomp.
Echo Stomp. Yeah.
I mean, it covers a fair amount of your chrono,
It
right?
really does. Yeah, it really does. So if you put it just basically on top of the hero that's chronoed, you're going to force Faceless Void away from it.
Yeah.
But there's another combo there
Nice.
for the Chronosphere. Speaking of it, Jakiro also pretty nice against the ET, reducing his attack time.
Yep.
Generally, attack speed, this is going to come as no surprise, but it's worth explaining because it's not inherently obvious. Anyone that gives you extra attack damage, like the ET, that's how he dominates lanes, is always going to be best if you can hit him with some attack speed slow,
Yeah,
right?
if you can't, of course, dispel it,
Mm.
which is what the Enchanters would do, but obviously Jakiro's better because, no, Enchanter's not banned, but
Just
but the
checking.
Jakiro's better because he brings much more damage to the Chrono, and he brings a second utility against ET, which is the Ice Path, quite a long-range stun. Takes a while to set up, but when he's trying to stomp you, it's
Yeah.
a great way to stop that from happening.
Yeah, it's really useful.
Ooh, the
Interesting.
Drow Ranger. We have seen this as an answer to the Void sometimes because actually reaching the Drow is not easy whatsoever, and she can gust you away. And if you use BKB before you chrono, then they have ways to deal with you as well, right?
Yeah.
So Drow does have not an advantage, I would say, against Void, but if you know how to play this and you position yourself well, it becomes difficult for Void to reach her.
This is not a very easy ET. I mean, like, the Jakiro, the Earth Spirit, the Snap are all very, very annoying for ET. He's not going to have that great of a time. I'm a bit concerned for how much he's going to be able to try and play this tanky frontliner, or at least someone to absorb spells, because he's got a channeled ability that's pretty important for him, right? Like, that's the only reason. Sure, you can play him more with the staple gun build and take the attack damage, and then I think there's a lifesteal talent that he has higher up.
I believe. And you go for the Ags, which gives you the BKB.
Oh, which is so good,
So
right?
good.
And that'll solve the issue, but against an Earth Spirit, against a Jakiro, against a Snapfire, who is a position 5, so very unlikely to farm that the gobble up very quickly. So that's not really that big of a concern. But still, it's so difficult. Plus, the cookie forced ally movement is so strong against ET Stomp because that can really mess up a few of your wombo combos. So
and against Drow as well.
it's not an easy game. I think this is mostly why we don't see ET picked too much, because there are a lot of good supports that naturally counter him.
Yeah, he has to be a bit of a later pick in the draft.
Yeah, like
usually.
the Ench as well. It's
Or a flex, which is why he's been kind of resurging lately, because he's been more of a flex. And you go, oh, is he 3? Is he 5? If you counter the ET as a 5, who cares? But if you counter the ET as a 3.
that's a good point, right? But then that would force the Morana into a core role here for Boom Esports. I honestly hadn't
Or the
considered
Tiny?
that.
Because we have seen KP play with the
Yeah,
offlane, right?
yeah, that also seems very viable. And Yopaj as well, mid lane, he loves the
Exactly.
Tiny. Yeah.
Not Yopaj, mate. Wrong team. That's Neon Esports.
No, I know, but I'm just quoting other,
Oh, right.
prominent players in the region. Yeah, I know. We're casting Boom and Team Star.
You're totally right, yes. The Tiny K played in those two positions particularly. I don't know. I mean, you've revealed from Team Star that Snapfire is core as well, right? Unless the Earth Spirit goes mid, which could be happening. DDZ has a wide pull play here.
That's a good point. I didn't even consider that. Yeah, it could be a mid.
Too many supports this game is what we have.
Too many supports.
Let's see what the last pick is for Boom Esports, because I think you should. If you go mid, I'd be hard pressed to. Like, Katstani Alpha I don't love as much, so I would say probably mid here, to be honest. And you put either the Elder Titan off lane. That's what I would like. But then I don't know who goes 5 though. Oh no, I still would like to see a consistent mid laner. I particularly love Hakonka against a Void. I think he's great at mitigating damage. He's really good against Snapfire because Torrent has a huge range. So I would love Hakonka here, especially because Kunkka is great at giving space to the Drow, and he would fulfill the tanky role that you're looking for. And then, yeah, Tiny off is okay. Okay, no, they're going to run Tiny mid with a Tide Hunter.
Yeah.
Fulfills a similar role to the Kunkka in terms of counter initiation and dealing with the Void, but he's tankier.
Okay. ET in the position 5 then I think is okay. I think you're mostly looking for it for the threat of running it in the off lane, maybe even mid lane if you're watching the Topsons. But I think it's still going to be a really, really big thorn in the side because the Earth Splitter range is amazing. That thing reaches farther than Fissure.
Yeah.
With the Ags upgrade even.
Yeah, and people always think of the Earth Splitter as like, oh, it's a long spell. But let's not forget at the moment that it actually completes, reaching its full range, it's actually when it explodes. So if you're farther away, they don't have time to react always.
That's true. So if you cast it from Fog, it's got some strange interactions. Dota and Fog of War. It's
all of a sudden it explodes. You're like, what just happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
The trees are gone. Yeah.
So in the end, Team Star is going to be running the Snapfire as a core, as we determined, but it was going to be an off-lane Snapfire, which Star is actually much more commonly building. They don't like DDZ Snapfire as much as Candy Loon. It's one of his favorite heroes. And going to be running a Zeus in the mid lane. So it's a tall order for Boom Esports. They went for a really risky lineup with a Drow Ranger, and the synergy in their lineup is incredible. They have a lot of ways to protect the Drow Ranger, to just kind of save her, either tossing her away, using Tide as a meat shield, the Ravage to counter-initiate, Elder Titan to stomp around her. Many, many ways to protect protector. But at the same time, you're up against a lot of heroes that can kind of catch you. The Void, the Earth Spirit, both with mobility, the Snapfire with her ultimate, or just with a cookie helping out another support, and even the Zeus with the Nimbus. So it seems like, just looking at the drafts alone, Team Star would have the quote-unquote better draft. But Boom Esports, they picked this, they have something in mind. They really know what they're doing. They clearly didn't go for a risky pick just for the sake of it. So sometimes that strategy, the idea of having a plan, is stronger than the traditional build.
Yeah, having a plan is going to be really important as well here for Boom Esports, because they're going to need to protect Dreamacell on the draw range. Now, Dreamacell is amazing. His reaction time, we've seen, is tried and tested, and it is very reliable. But the concern there is more the fact that, you know, if Draw Ranger gets jumped on with this lineup and stuck in a Chrono without any support, she could be in for a really rough time here. The Zeus as well tickles me as a really great pick, always against a Tide Hunter. You know, cancel a blink if you're going in for a fight. Nimbus as well. And then just generally, of course, the passive proving to be a very, very strong asset against these tanky heroes. What the Thunder got? No. It's called the Static Field. Classic top lane as well. Hyde on the Mirana and FBZ on the Tide Hunter. Good to see the Watermelon back in action here. Kescute here. Okay, so one of the few ranged melees, one of the few ranged carries that we tend to see, except for the Morphling. So given that it is going to be the melee support here versus Yamate, right? Yamate
Yes.
versus...
Which means something that we can't explain on stream.
Oh, okay. But it's versus that, which is not going to be amazing here. Earth Spirit tends to do pretty well here. He's also got, of course, versus melee supports, that is, because as a strength hero, he does really nicely. But so does the ET, so I think that one's going to be really skill-based between the two support matchups.
I agree.
Because I think that's going to make the difference here in this bottom lane, especially because if Yamate can actually roll in and harass the Drow, he is very, very effective at that. Because if he lands the stun, it's not like Drow can gust him anyway.
Exactly. Also, Drows these days usually don't go for a gust too early, right? So you should have to wait a bit to have that defensive ability. It's one of the things that makes Drow... Like, Drow is really strong in lane, but if you're out of position, you're going to get punished really hard. Okay, you have to be really confident. This initial fight, okay, the bounty rune goes the way.
Kescute.
Yeah, Kescute deals way too much damage. You cannot fight them right now.
Holy moly, look at that. That's terrifying.
But Candaloon did take the bounty, so it's still a win for Star, honestly, unless they get a kill here. And Dreamocell is slowed. Kescute, second bound of damage. Yamate, no! Help your carry! He should have blocked that,
yeah,
Kescute.
He should have.
But Dreamocell's gonna die here, maybe Kescute as well. Nothing they can do. Dreamocell uses the Fairy Fire. Nope, that's the first death. Yeah. First blood going to Mozun. Candaloon trying to get away. Kescute is out of damage. With the dual breath, the second slow, rolling boulder, double kill for the Jakiro.
Oh,
okay,
no.
swapping positions now. Jakiro's the true carry. Screw it. Jakiro. Mazun is gonna become the carry now. You actually have 600 gold from that alone.
I think Kescute is going to be, if you watch the replay on that one, he's going to be a little bit disappointed. You know, because you can obviously micro the Spirit and yourself independently. They're independent completely of one another except for the move speed. So, yeah, that's a bit disappointing because he definitely could have, you know, Mr. President, get down to that little situation there for his Drow Ranger. But good aggression from Team Star, though, starting off in this lane with 2 kills, forcing 2 TPs, and they're going to start off on the back foot here, which is not what the ET likes to do. He's, with that extra damage, generally really good at dominating the lane. As Lance, time walking forward maybe unexpectedly for that Mirana.
You know, what I like about what they did there is that they actually played around the timing a bit, so they kind of re-engaged once they knew that the other Titan buff was down, right? And they had to reapply it, which obviously took a bit of time, and that weakened their aggression there. So it worked out really nicely for Star. They knew how to play against the Titan. They've clearly done many, many fights against this stupid hero before, because he's so strong early. So you have to learn to deal with him. Yeah,
they've actually, I mean, speaking of learning to deal with him, they've blocked his camp. I didn't mean to pick, but they've blocked his camp down here, which means he's not easily able to stack and get that damage. Because it doesn't really matter for the Spirit. It's based on what kind of it's just based on the number of units you absorb with the Spirit, right? It's not. It doesn't care if is it an easy creep, is it a hard creep? It does not matter, right? So it's most
creeps or heroes.
Exactly, creeps or heroes. It's those two categories, which is why he's so good against the Meepo. Because yes, each Meepo does individually count, right? But yeah, so that's why you want to block the easy camp because it's most efficient to stack that for your damage. The problem is it's usually a bit harder to do because then the Spirit takes a long time getting to you, and then by then usually the fight's started or maybe even over. But great stuff there blocking the camp. They definitely have played against us. It used to be everywhere, this ET, so it's kind of a blast from the past seeing him back now.
Yeah, again, in SCA particularly, you don't really see him much. I don't think I've not seen him a lot in the American region either. AEU is the only region I still see him somewhat. But again, as a 3, a bit of a flex because we'll see how this works out, though. I still like the idea, though, against the Void, and I don't think you have to do that much in the lane. Usually, yes, Titan, you pick him so you can win the lane completely. That's part of the reason, right? Much like an Undying. But I think that this game, because your utility against the Void is so high, it's kind of okay, right? As long as your mid game goes well, just don't die too much early and protect the Drow. That's your job. Yeah. And you are doing that. DreamOcell has a really good game right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's Cannulon doing whatever he can here. A decent matchup as well. On the ranged hero, though, it's going to be a bit unfortunate. You definitely do not want to be trading with the Drow if you can at all avoid it, because you don't have that built-in passive damage block, right? So that's going to be of some concern. That's really big. That's why generally you only see the melee offlaners, because no more stout shields, right? If you have a stout shield, it's okay, right? Not anymore. Removed from the game.
Yeah. In fact, similarly, that's actually for a while. I remember when the meta started shifting so that lanes were much more flexible, and most carries were actually lasting under the tower. That was one of the reasons actually why that meta there was no range carry. There was most melee carries, because if you have to last under a tower, you need that quelling blade buff and also a stout shield to protect against the creeps.
Actually, and that's a good point. Right after Ice Frog made that change, using Ice Frog as the entire Dota balance team, although it still could just be Ice Frog, who knows? I don't. Hold on, they're fighting. No, they're not, because Hute's going to be able to back off. Look at all that move speed, 372 without boots. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and he's living, I mean, what he's doing right now is just kind of taking Star for a walk, right? He's going, yeah, well, I'm going to harass other lanes and force the supports to come with me, maybe even the offlaner, and Drow is alone. Because if Drow is alone against the Snapfire, Snap is going to have a tough time. She has a really easy harassing with the orb walking, and of course the multi-shot as well.
Yep. But very quickly, just to finish my point, Tidehunter got nerfed so hard initially when they removed Stout Shield and then added passive damage block to melees, because I think like he either didn't benefit from it or they really messed with Kraken Shell. So it was just like he was completely made out of paper, which is obviously against the entire merits of the hero. So it's really cool to see him back, because I think that change really negatively affected him. And obviously that's been since adjusted, as we are going to be fighting for the 5-minute runes. Lance should beat him here, although we do have an arrow short enough that that'll get the job done.
Perfect arrow. FPZ even gets the anchor smash onto Lance. Lance, that'll be in trouble. Time walk in 10 more seconds. Nah, it's fine.
He's going to be okay. Yeah, no more arrow.
And the Jakiro's really good in lane as well, right? Like in a very different way than Elder Titan. Oh, Drow could be in trouble. Nice stomp to stop the Snapfire from continuing this aggression. And DreamOcell can just back down near the tower. She gets the extra aura, a bit of extra HP. And with a multi-shot, harassing Yamate. Candy Loon really close. Scatterblast about to be useful. DreamOcell, though, survives on just 20 HP. Meanwhile, Keskute is hunting Yamate with an arrow to give some more vision. Keskute is one hit away. He has the spirit. Yamate can start healing the Tangle. The stomp, will it hit? Nice. It will. Yep. And Yamate is out of HP. He's going to go down.
Yep, so generally speaking, you're always able to actually hit the stomp, as long as you obviously use the stomp as soon as you place down the spirit, and the spirit is at the hero, like you spawn it on top of the hero, and the hero does not have boots. It's almost guaranteed. So he's so strong in the lane just because you counter that with movements if you can't manage to cancel the channel. So really good stuff there. Nice chase. Keskute stays alive, heals back up, and they even get a kill onto the Earth Spirit, which is big. Earth Spirit generally likes to be in the opposite of that position and kind of depends on it. He's a very momentum-based hero, this one.
I would agree with that, especially because Earth Spirit, I mean, now he's a bit better as a laning support, but for a long time he was really just a roaming support.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. He was, you know, it was interesting because he's in my book the king of roamers.
Yes, definitely.
But back
with
when
Mirana.
we were yes, that's very true actually. Probably Mirana might be better than him, admittedly, as much as I love the hero. But back when it was like the king of the roamers patch with Tusk specifically, back when like it was only DK DP mid lane every single, you know, like
because he didn't want to get ganked by these two heroes.
Yeah, because it was always Tusk, right? We never saw him back then just because the hero was way too weak. But Ice Frog, he's been generous and actually buffed up Earth Spirit. Not too recently. This was like kind of last year, right after what's his name retired. But yeah, so now you have 7 remnants, and the recharge time went from 35 to 25 seconds with an extra stone remnant, which is just so nice because mid game to late game fights, you would run out of rocks like that, and that, I mean, you were just completely useless.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
actually like where he is right now, to be honest. Because the boulder smash changing so that the boulder smash slows and rolling boulder actually stuns makes it so that you're actually still viable in team fights, but not as strong as it used to be, right? Because remember those stuns with the boulder smash?
It was ridiculous. I mean,
stuns?
you literally, what's a hero that can 5-man stun and silence the entire enemy team? Warlock? No, you fool. Warlock does not have a silence. It's Earth Spirit. You know?
Exactly. And he doesn't even use an ultimate for that, right?
That's
the worst
the
part.
thing, right? That's the thing. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. It was beautiful to watch JRX play back then, or even Tim's. I thought Tim's was incredible Earth Spirit as well.
And that's what I love, because the skill ceiling on this hero is insanely high, right? Nothing against other heroes. It's a great arrow, by the way, onto Mozoon. Does not have the Ice Path, but Ravage actually coming through as the Cookie Stun will only hit the Marana. But Ravage committed there for a kill, although the TPs, actually, they're going to ignore Dream to Cell, instead try for FBZ as the Boulder Smash is going to split the two heroes there. Yamate is going to be unable to actually land a stun, and Thunder God's Wrath is not going to be used there. Makoto ganking bot? No, he's going to back off.
I like that FBZ hardest in the beginning. It's like, oh, Jakiro's carry now? Okay, let me Ravage him alone. Because quite the commitment for just a position 5, not gonna lie. Yes, he has a fair amount of net worth, and I guess you stop him early, but there was not much need. But, you know, better to have Ravage off cooldown, or on cooldown, sorry. Because at least you're being useful with it.
Kescute soaking levels in the meantime, having to, you know, pull and deward, and generally was just unavailable to be in the lane too much with the Drow Ranger. He'd probably really prefer if Makoto were to stand invisible a little bit further away so he could get solo experience, but it is what it is. Makoto with the Invis rune, vying for a kill, but Lance with the Chrono is not exactly the easiest target here for them.
No, not quite. Not just Chrono, Time Walk as well, and even the help of the Jakiro with a surprise Ice Bath. Because usually Jakiros nowadays, they actually build much earlier into Ice Bath. Long gone are the days where you max dual breath and go look at fire afterwards. You're no longer a DPS hero. You're just a blocking Ice Bath, really.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh, Kescute is going to get gone on down here, but that's fine. He's doing his job. 3 heroes down as TP's into the trees. The Stomp catching 2 Ice Path. Wildly will miss. They will have the vision thanks to the Thunder God's Wrath. Boulder Smash again will miss. Only 1 bash here for Lance, so he has to commit the Chronosphere. Rolling Boulder directly into the side of that, and there it is. Kescute down in exchange for a Chrono and 3 people's times. He's pretty happy with that.
Yep, not bad. Honestly, kind of playing the dead lane anyway, which is what he does well. DDZ in the middle lane though. Could be in trouble. Mikoto going for him.
Nice
Not enough damage though, and DDZ still alive. They can throw the tree onto him. They get the kill with a tree throw. And Mikoto now in a Song of Ice and Fire, confused by Snapfire and Jakiro. Is he hot? Is he cold? He's certainly dead.
Yeah, and unlike the books, his life will end, so that's going to be unfortunate for him.
Oh, but the tower's going to fall, though. FBZ is actually walking in just for the massive.
He got close. That's the thing with Tidehunter, right? The tower on 1 HP sees a Tidehunter falling. It denies itself. Does not want to deal with that. But there we go. No level 6 still on Kescute, unfortunately. That death does end up costing him here. He did get some time to farm at least, so he's a little bit ahead here of the Jakiro, but needs level 6 realistically, and cannot go head-to-head here versus Lance without dying. But he now has Makoto nearby. Yamate nearby, though, as they will commit now for the Shadow. Sorry, the Moonlight Shadow, that is.
Yeah, the Moonlight Shadow, of course. And I wonder if this Moonlight Shadow... I wonder what the point of this was, honestly, because it didn't seem like they were going to gank anything. Mikoto went to the bottom lane.
Yeah, it looked like that was it. He stayed in the trees out of in fog, but you know, there's no way Lance is sticking around much longer after they commit the Moonlight Shadow. He's like, well, see you later.
Yeah, and if you allow me to talk about spaces for a second, as per usual, the transition we see it, right, where the carry leaves the safe lane, become the dead lane, and he goes somewhere safe for the farm. Usually carries, however, will go up to the lane itself, right? But because the lane is quite pushed, and also because Team Star has great ganking potential, the Drow instead is going to the safest place to the farm, which is the triangle.
Yeah.
Very small by Dreamo Cell, right? Don't sacrifice yourself uselessly.
And this is fine. This is where Drow wants to be anyway, you know, with the marksmanship procs. No longer instantly killing Ancients.
It's still pretty good damage.
Yes, it is. That used to be so ridiculous when that was the thing. Just stack Ancients and just right-click them. Eventually, you'll farm them all.
Yeah. And Kescute actually has managed to soak a fair amount of experience down the bottom lane while also kind of deep-pushing it. I mean, this tier 1 is going to be quite late for Star, and they've committed a fair amount of resource just to take this, right? 4 heroes here.
Finally level 6. My goodness, poor Kescute. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's true, but Kescute gets at level 6 though, but at the same time he was being useful during this whole time, and now he's ready to fight, even as the 1 point in natural order.
Well, it's so good.
Not that
it's
great
so
that
value. It's so value, though.
No, the 1 point is great, but I'm saying this ability in this game, you know, it's not like when a Morphling is here or like a high agility hero. It's just a Void. It's fine. It's extra damage, of course.
Yeah, it's extra damage for free, but you know the spirit, it gives you the magic armor resist, base resist that is, and the physical
Magic armor
hero.
reduction.
Yes. And the magic armor resist, and the hero himself gives you the armor resist. As FBZ kisses does get off the hooded Defiant, so he's actually quite a tanky boy. Will have enough time to get off the Ravage. Now the Earth Splitter on top of that, but the Echo Stomp actually not connecting only onto the backline Candy Loon. It's going to mean Dreamacell, who's a bit too aggressive here. Back into the Macropyre he goes, as they will not finish up the kill on Aketsuki onto the back lines. As Mask of Madness activated means the Lance is more than fast enough to catch up with the Drought Ranger. I think a bit too overzealous to get into a team fight there, Jeremy. So definitely not his time to be fighting.
No, I think that was kind of hasty by Boom, to be honest. I was talking about this at the end of the draft, that while this Drought lineup is really good in terms of synergy, right, you are up against a lot of heroes with mobility, and Drought really has to be careful of positioning. Here, Candeloon in trouble, nice arrow setup, and with a Star Storm, they're gonna get the last hit. Hyde actually gets him, Mikoto was trying to though. And it's just a bit unfortunate for Boom because it's a really difficult game to play, and the usual plays that Dreamcell could get away with the Drought, you can't in this game because they have a lot of ways to cancel you.
BZ's pushing pretty far here. Could become a pretty easy kill if they get a +1, even just the Zeus's. Nice rolling boulder in to initiate. Has the Hooded Defiance again, so he's going to be able to soak up a little bit of the Magnetize. Courier delivering an item, but the Zeus now jumping on in. He's not going to make this too easy. Rosanna for the move slow. Still has now max Ice Path, but you need to hit that one for it to stun, unfortunately. And he will be able to just kind of walk away.
I'm going to try to take that tower up top. So at least Boom has done a pretty good job of getting map control, but they are a bit behind in terms of farm. I mean, the Void, at least, is probably more than Drought Ranger. Mikoto is struggling.
You really need a little bit more damage there, a little bit more attack speed.
Yeah. But now they can completely take over the enemy jungle, and then now Drought's area really increases, right? She has so much more space to farm. She actually had stacks here because they were already invading the enemy jungle. And Star will do the same with your jungle. It's not really that big a deal, but this allows Dreamcell to farm safely in a much larger portion of the map, which is important because you need to at least match, if not be, at best, one small item behind Void, but not really much behind him, though.
Speaking of the Void, let me go and take a peek at him. Mask Man is straight into the BKB here. Okay. Standard stuff. Wanting to be willing to fight, not scared of his chrono getting ruined by an Echo Stomp or maybe by a Tiny even. Allows him to fight through a Ravage. So that does increase his team fight his team fight presence here early on. Actually, oh, Zeus with a Veil. Okay, not straight into the Aether Lens next, but then going next into I presume can only be the Ags.
Well, it kind of depends. I think that most people only see the Zeus rush of the Axe is really useful, and I agree. But before the Axe was even a thing, Zeus was played with all these small utility items, right? Because there's not so much about how good is it to build Zeus, like in terms of what synergizes with the character. It's more about how Zeus plays the tempo, right? With these items, you have a much stronger peak in the early to mid game, which is when Zeus is usually strongest, right? And you take advantage of that peak more so than with the Axe, which kind of makes you much more of a mid-game hero. So if he wants to be more of a space creator, if DTZ wants to play around this, they go for a farming build. He's going to have a ridiculous amount of farm with his lightning build. He's going to be much more useful for team fights. So I kind of like this more than straight into the Axe. I actually think that build is a bit of a no-brain build.
I really think that's
good.
I really think that's wise, actually, because we already have a full pipe on FBZ finished.
Yep.
So he's Zeus in the game, Snapfire, Jakiro, say no more. I got you, fam. Full pipe finished up for his team, so that'll make him a bit more tanky. Could definitely be the difference between life and death, as Dreamcell should have a full Yasha on the way, which is going to help accelerate his farm by quite a bit. The rest of the team continuing to push. Right now, both sides seem pretty content to just farm, where, you know, if they run into an enemy, they might go for a bit of a fight, but all the ultis up, everyone just kind of farming in their little path on the map and having a fun old time.
Yeah, with a smoke screen now, or smoke, sorry, from Star, hoping to catch anyone, really, honestly. Hyde's fine, but he is a support. Oh, they just walked in. Okay, Keskiv is going to be the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Kind of walked into the ice path. Not the best positioning by them, and they use Thunder God's Wrath just to get a bit of extra vision. They could Chrono Hyde, but then you're wasting Chrono on a Mirana.
Yeah. I think the one kill's already fine, right? You were looking to see if you could have a nice team fight there. Now that Lance had his BKB freshly delivered, we do also have a Hooded Defiance on Yamate, as well as nearly the Aghanim Scepter already here for Candy Loon. We've seen faster today, but this one is going to be off-lane Snapfire, so, you know, I won't be too quick to judge there.
Yeah, it's very different, right? Because offlane Snapfire, even... I mean, that was pretty decent timing,
well,
but
actually,
his lane was not great.
I don't know, actually, because we've seen a position for Snapfire for Q earlier today, and he had it 2 minutes ago.
But his lane was really awful against the Drow, though.
Yeah.
And Yamate was rotating most of the time, so it's not really fair, I think.
Sure.
Because Kendall was actually not even in his lane for a long time, right? So he's recovering more now. I think it's fine. But I like that Boom is staying together for most of the time, right? If you want to go Chrono, their positioning is always on point, really. FBZ leading, Dreamcell a little bit behind, with Hyde and Mikoto between them, right? So actually, very, very clear instructions. They want a very coordinated team fight, as you usually do with the Drow. And they want to prevent being surprised by an Earth Spirit or a Void.
Speaking of surprise, Mikoto probably surprised to be caught there. Lance with the Invis Rune now running into this one as he is coming in from behind. Kisses raining down. They're going to get the Avatos nearly bursting down Lance immediately. My goodness, unable to time walk that damage off. Rather, FPZ looking for a Ravage here, but slowed by the dual breath. Unlikely to find it with the Spirit continuing to just chase them down here. All right, my goodness, they really almost killed Lance there. One blow.
Yeah.
Was that really just Avatos alone?
That was the Avalanche toss. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of damage, right? Because Avalanche does 900 damage in the toss, and then toss is an extra 300, so we're already 1,200 damage. But then you also get an extra 30%, so 1,300 damage in total between this combo. And that's not even counting the hits beforehand or even the tree throw and everything. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, that's why Tiny, all pros hate him. Busted.
Yeah. Just,
he's been in the meta forever. He just changes positions. Like if the meta shifts, Tiny just goes into a different position. That's all he does, but he stays in it. He's resilient, that little guy. Little bugger, very resilient.
Very resilient, yeah. He's a rock after all.
That is true.
A rolling stone, as they say. God, there's no moss.
From place unknown.
I actually don't know any Rolling Stone songs off the top of my head, unfortunately.
That was Bob Dylan, mate, like a Rolling Stone.
I don't know who
you're
that
American too. How is a Spaniard correcting you on your culture?
It's whatever. I don't know, dude. Anyway, Kescute's gone for the Drums of Endurance on the ET, which is an interesting build for him. I think it's good for the team overall. As Potom obviously... Oh, hold that thought mid.
Thunder Gods.
They have the gobble up.
They do?
Yeah.
They see Kescute?
They spit him out.
You can only swallow a dragon for like a certain amount of time, of course. Otherwise, he becomes...
And 2 dragons only for a mere seconds.
Exactly, because they're too powerful. They have too much fire inside of them. It's like eating spicy food, right?
Yeah.
You gotta spit it out immediately.
It's like eating spicy food and then trying to like drown it down with like a soda or something like that.
No, with water, actually.
It gets worse. Uh-oh. Team fight breaking out?
I don't know. It's just Yamate for now. Mozun, really nice side prep there. Tiny wants to initiate with a Blink Dagger. You could... It's harder to solo kill Mozun, actually. Jakiro's a good support against Tiny.
We have the Blink, though. Blink Ravage at the ready. Good Chrono,
nice
though.
Chrono.
Yeah, out from Lance as the kiss is now raining down, but he can't kill Tiny. He's just too tanky now. Mikoto holding down the Jakiro as well as the Earth Spirit. That's going to allow Lance to try and escape, but they might hit him here with the Earth Spirit.
Nice!
Oh, my goodness. Canceling the TP there. Marana will fall in the meantime, as will the Zeus, actually. Mikoto probably contributing to his death. FBZ continuing the chase now onto the Jakiro, trying to go invis, but they have the multi-shot for him anyway, out from Dreamcell. Mikoto continuing to chase down the stragglers as Candy Loon left alive. Are they going to use Ravage for this? They will not. A great fight, and didn't even use Ravage.
That was really well played. The Earth Splitter was fantastic, but I just want to point out one thing. You know, when I was stuck in the draft, I said, you know, Drow can be a counter to Void. This is exactly what I was referring to. Right? People were like, oh, what do you mean? The Void just initiates your Chrono. But it's not always that simple to get the Chrono, because she's usually so far back. And then when you Chrono and you try to hit whatever is inside of it, Drow will just destroy you inside of it, because she deals so much damage. Especially if you want to kill the Elder Titan, because then you already hit by the natural order as well, which means that she actually deals extra damage to you on top of that. So it's a tall order for the Void. He has to always get Dreamcell, and it's not always that easy, because Voids nowadays, they just don't go for the Blink Dagger build. It used to be so fun. So you have to use Time Lock to initiate.
Toss back to Hyde. Actually, toss back to the Siege Creep, which is going to give him silence. Yamate stuck between a rock and a very hard place there. Is really just nowhere to go. Yule Scepter canceling the rolling boulder. Arrow is going to miss as planned for the kill to go still to Hyde after all.
That's 2K lead now for Boom Esports with a death on Earth Spirit. It's pretty nice. The map control is kind of... Actually, I would say it's slightly in their favor because they've recovered their jungle now, but they can always go into the enemy jungle as well because that tier 2 down bottom still alive for Boom Esports. Not the case for the tier 2 up top for Star. And Star is constantly retaking this outpost up top because they just want to prevent being ganked there. Mozun, never keep in time. Good ice path. Mikoto still trying to get the kill though. And you could... There we go with the avalanche. Toss. Not used. Wow.
Great
Yeah,
arrow.
it's not the magical damage you have to worry about. It's Mikoto smacking you in the face, Jakiro.
And in the meantime, FPZ doing a good job of trying to push down this tier 1 down bottom. They have a fortify for it, but with Drow Ranger laying into it, it's not really going to last long. As they're going to go for a little bit more, having the aggressive fortified to also use that up top lane, where Team Star backed by Lance are looking to do the same, but they are going to get gone on here. Moonlight Shadow, but everyone is able to TP out in time. The scan will go green as everyone escapes safely.
Let's see, are you trying to find Yamate now in the middle lane as well? You do have Gush to initiate. Oh, rolling boulder, gonna get canceled. Yamate's like, what? What? Okay, he's just walking away.
Yep, they're going to let him live. Not worth using the Ravage, and there's no way you're going to catch him now with an Echo Stomp. He's just too slippery. Medallion, as we said, on him. Glimmer Cape finished for our Jakiro. Ags into, eventually, the Mana Boots and Blink Dagger for the snap, so that'll be up in a little bit of time. But now we're going to go back for the Aghanim Scepter here for DBZ. He's probably going to have that here within a few levels, as he's already got 2k of the gold necessary, only needing about another 700.
Okay. I'm going to try to see if they can now invade completely enemy jungle, put the wards down, retake their outpost completely as well, and try to take the tower in the mid lane as well. Because Star doesn't really have many options to fight them. I mean, they can Chrono them, but not if they're playing as consistent as Boom has. They seem a bit futile, these efforts. And TDC are now slowly inching toward the Ags.
No, they have caught Makoto, though, kicking up back up towards the team, right into the Chronosphere. Even the Gobble Up committing to this, and the Kisses. They really want Makoto dead. My goodness, Thunder God's Wrath on top. Lance not popping the BKB, looking for more. Onto Kezkuti goes. Wow, that Ice Path just catching his back foot there, as Hyde will have the setup for an arrow, but just using the Yules onto Yamate to slow him down, but not for very long, as you can still rolling boulder on through with that level 10 talents, giving him lots of gap flows, but nice job there finding the time to get him back into the allies. But Team Star using basically all of the ultimates there, so we'll see if once Makoto's back alive, Boom Esports, we'll probably see them run at them yet again.
With that, losing your support, well, actually your main initiation techniques, because Ravage is more of a counter-initiation tactic this game, you are going to have to play a bit defensive for a while as a Boom Esports, and Star can regain back their map. And it's just the same, honestly, tug of war that we're seeing. They're all constantly fighting over the Star jungle. But that's not good, because they're never actually contesting Boom Esports jungle at any point. They're actually just trying to regain their own jungle constantly, every single time. And that makes it really difficult. Again, FBC takes it over again, because Void hasn't had a really consistent place to farm besides a triangle. And because he takes the only really safe place to farm, the other heroes are kind of falling a bit behind compared to them. And that's why we see the slight difference for Boom Esports. I mean, a Drow should not be as farm as your Void, to be honest. Void usually is a bit of a faster farmer.
Drow is able to still make the unlikely happen. Nearly level 18, so that level 3 marksmanship, or actually it's not called that, is it? Yeah, it's just marksmanship now, not necessarily the aura, is going to be able to get some damage here, chip damage onto this tier 3 tower. No fortify available for either side, but a few ultis. Nice job in on Yamate, though. Gobbles eaten and yeeted back into the fight. It's FBZ falling very quickly here to the Nimbus, but they have creeps in their Lance jumping in, but he doesn't have a Chrono. Didn't BKB either. Makoto blinking in, says, thank you very much for sacrificing your life for us. Come again. Yamate is getting clicked down in the meantime by Dream Cell, as he will get caught actually by the Ice Path. Candyloon not jumping in with the Blink Dagger. Unbelievable. They actually managed to nuke her on her first life. Anti-Style still ready to be used, but straight into the Ice Path she goes as Thunder God's Wrath. Everyone's so low, they can't really afford to put their bodies on the line here for Dream Cell without just feeding, but that'll be that. Lance just jumping in as if he had Chrono, BKB'd, but he was just food there for the likes of Boom.
Yeah, the Void, unfortunately, when you get caught out like that, you had a really nice initiation. The Tiny really strong still because you're kind of reaching the peak of the Tiny mid, right? Where
Yeah.
you still have the burst damage from the Blink and Echo Saber. Now he's going for a BKB, which might transition. I like this BKB pickup particularly because you can transition into a carry-ish Tiny with like Nags, Crystallis, etc. build, or you can still transition to be more of a Shadow Blade initiator Tiny. And BKB fits for both builds. It's one of the few things that makes the transition not so awkward. But DDZ, I don't know. You're really, really close right now to the lane DDZ, and he still has no save. There's no Yule Scepter, no Blink Dagger, no Force Staff on this hero yet.
Yep, PZ just getting kicked away from the creep as Yamate. It's his turn to now farm it.
You'll see MKB is finally built up on Lance. What are you missing? Oh, I think he already has it.
Yeah, should be
Yeah,
on the way for him now.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we'll see what they go for this time. If he looks to jump in, he actually has, well, a bit more damage behind him, and of course that all-important Chronosphere. But that death has actually put him down now, nearly a full 1,000 gold, over 1,000 gold actually, from Drumiso, who's now finished with BKB, making good progress towards that Eye of Scotty too.
Let's see if they can smoke now with MKB. They should be looking for a kill now because you're still. I mean, you're still gonna get the jump off. The difficulty with playing this lineup against a Drow is that you really need to get the jump off every single time. So it's important right now that they go for smokes, try to get kills whenever they hit these power peaks, and we haven't seen that much from Team Star. There we go. Finally. Took a bit too long though, honestly. A bit of delay and hesitation for this team is actually costing them a game slowly and little by little. Because it's currently a 4K lead for Boom Esports, which is a huge, huge advantage.
They are heading straight towards the lone Drow, though, as there's the Thunder God's Wrath to give them the vision they're looking for, but Smoke's more eventually rather, just broken on their own. So we'll now back off, fearing the counter initiation. I'm not sure if Ravage is up, but it is up soon, so wise decision out from Team Star. It looks like Boom Esports, they're going to gather for a little smoke of their own, and there they go, right? They smoke into us, they fail, we smoke back at them. Let's go, boys.
Okay, I mean, then Boom has the advantage. It's
Actually,
really just who initiates, right?
Look at this ward. It's giving so much information right there.
Oh, it did, actually. It did completely. I mean, they're all backed into base. They're kind of forced into turtling, which is not too great.
Oh, great ward, too, here. This is fantastic warding out
Yamate,
from Kescu.
Yamate. There we go. Avalanche toss. Kill Yamate. Goodbye with the arrow. Guarantees the kill. Not getting more than that, but it is a support gun.
Yeah. The bottom lane already pushed in quite far. That's the only tower left remaining outside of the base here for Team Star. So that's whatever. You know, he dies. It's better than the entire team running up that hill and getting ravaged and losing the game from there. As it's still 11-13 as we approach this 30-minute mark. They are getting chased down as I say that. Looking to push this 5v4 advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they got it completely. They just need to find the Zeus, really. Mozun is doing a good job of leading the way. The Pied Piper plays, and Mozun leads them astray. FBZ, like a little rat, just following Mozun around, but you missed all your important targets. It's exactly what Mozun wanted, and he even TPs. Well played.
Nice.
Well played.
Indeed. I like this Hyde being ultra efficient. He's probably going to be using the telescope when he actually needs it, but as of this point, holding on to the Philosopher's Stone, as there's Makoto making a jump at the bounty runes for DDZ. Oh, nearly gets him, but the Ravage will do the trick for sure. Snapfire now still caught by that Ravage. Hyde jumping right into the Nimbus, setting up for the arrow. Cookie already used, so that's going to be the easiest stun in the world for them. And Hyde will be on a killing spree after that, claiming the kill of the Grandma.
Oh, and with this, they got Lotus Orb right off it, which is not bad, actually. I like this Lotus Orb pickup. A good way to dispel the Magnetize, particularly very important. Even the time dilation can be a really important thing to dispel. Or to return. You know, let's not forget that you can return that Lightning Bolt. I'm not really sure how it works with Nimbus, though. I think that ability has been bugged forever. They should return it, actually, to the stupid Nimbus thing, which cast the thing on you. Let's see. The tower is going to start to fall for now. Yamate going in with a rolling boulder, trying to catch FBZ. There's no Ravage here, but they're still quite confident. The Corona's not going to use for Star. They're just trying to use the Glyph, delay this as much as possible, give them some time. But Star, this delaying is great, and you're doing a good job, at least not losing anything, but you have to win at some point. You can't just keep not losing.
Yeah, Makoto was just reaching back there with his auto attacks. I think what's his attack speed here currently? It is 52. I don't think you can... I don't know if there's a minimum floor for attack speed like there is for HP and mana. I don't know if that's how it works. But, I mean, with Liquid Fire alone, that's going to leave you with 12 attack speed on the Tiny, considering he's got 3 agility from the Magic Wand.
I don't think there is a floor for gold. I mean, there's 1, which is the floor for attack speed, I think.
You think? Obviously, you can't have negative. You hit
Right.
yourself negatively.
Yeah, every time you hit, you heal or something like that. You know, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. But you definitely cannot go less than 1. But I think that 1's the floor, though. I've never heard of any other floor. I mean, I've seen Tinies that took actually, if you go really, really low, just because of the formula, right, the numbers go ridiculous. And I think if you have 1, it actually, the animation bugs out and you can't even complete an attack.
Look at the courier. Morana's courier sending through, unknowingly flying over 5 enemy heroes to scout the Roshan, giving them that information. FBZ, though, positioned a nice break here between Team Star and the rest of them, but they now will be revealed, actually. They never found this courier. Now it's going to be dead, but it's already given them more than enough information. They don't even kill the courier, actually.
20 seconds to the Ravage, though. So they could have fight this if they want to. I mean, they could even threaten Roshan, I think. Honestly, you have a really good counter initiation. You're just a bit afraid of the chrono, right? You don't want to get Drow caught in it.
No, for sure. Especially with BKB on
nice.
lands.
Look at Star. They're actually going for a smoke just from the high ground. See what they try to go for.
Oh, gobble up.
Well, gobble up. Void? It's Void alone from the high ground? They have a chrono, but they only catch Mirana. That is not what they were looking for. And Drow just decimates the Void. Dreamo Cell. It just took him down so easily. The poor Jakiro won't stand a chance either. And that play could have been so good, but the chrono, unfortunately, was not good enough. Yeah, FBZ still fighting his own fight. He has a Ravage. He probably uses it, but no, the boulder smash. Safe DDZ. Yamata's like, hit me! Hit me! Leave my carry alone! But he has a spider legs and a blink dagger still set up for the skill. And he alone will end up killing DDZ with Yamate now in trouble. Another good kick, but they're blocking the boulder smash. Oh, the rolling boulder, sorry. They miss, actually, the multi-shot. Good game, says Dreamo Cell. Yamate might just be able to get away because of that. Yes, he does. No, never mind. Blink to block it. And Dreamo Cell now will finish him off.
There you go. Tossing the Drow in celebration, as with no Fortify, this tier 3 is as good as dead. That's going to be the base cracked wide open. You can actually contrast into the bottom where they have a creep wave just outside the tower there. Makoto is going to scare off the kissing Mortimer there, as the top lane of Barracks will just absolutely get demolished here. Makoto with the Echo Saber and Shri blowing right through that.
Now it's time for them to go for the melee racks as the Macro Park goes in from Mozun. I don't think that was the best Macro Park. That was really weird. Usually you want it around the creeps, so they actually clears the creep wave, but instead they just... I really don't understand what that was.
Zoning.
And Mozun is a really good Jakiro, which is why that was such a odd...
Zoning, right? I mean, it's going to stop him from going any
Zoning
further.
The creeps.
Zoning the heroes, I would say, right? You don't want to fight in a Macropyre. You will want to blink into it. But now this opens up Roche. I forgot this is what they were initially fighting around. But good play by Boom to just go, nah, screw Roche. We can get 2 lanes of Barracks here for free. Team Star, this is now the GG smoke here, as they don't have Chrono, they don't have Thunder God's Wrath, they don't even have Macropyre or the Gobble Up. But, I'm sorry, make that the Kisses. They do have Gobble Up, so we'll see what they can make of it. As in they go, yeeting to the pit is Yamate's, and Elena Science, great Ice Path onto the Drow Ranger. Can they nuke her down? The toss to get her back into the safety out of the pit. Firefighter Makoto does well. Now the multi-shot Lance getting shot down, as FBZ is going to be the one to claim the Aegis, as well as the kill onto Roshan. Mozen in a bad spot here, and this is our Snapfire, who's going to get yeeted up, down. Nice rolling boulder there by Yamate for the broken, as well as the animation, will be our poor Snapfire. Mozen teeping away to safety, as still in trouble is DDZ. Makoto running him down, hitting him with the tree, and ends up dealing death to him. However, they do manage to find the Drow Ranger. Looks like just Zeus and Yamate end up, finishing the job there.
Yeah, I mean, you'd still have the obviously global power of the Zeus with the Nimbus, so even despite fire from man's Makoto, great effort, the Drow had to die there. However, Makoto ensured that team fight was kind of in their benefit, right? Because they still had to commit a lot of ultimates. The Drow still got much of the golden experience in that team fight regardless. She just died right afterward, which is not that relevant. So it's still good fight for Boom Esports, together, of course, with that Roshan they take.
Yeah, Roche as well.
Which Aegis goes to FBZ, by the way, which is interesting. I mean, he is kind of a pseudo carry this game. He's really close to level 25.
Well, he was in the pit, right? He definitely didn't want Lance taking it, considering how close they were to killing him. He was just getting, he just gets chunked by Drow. Like, if he's not, like, immediately out of, if he's within our attack range, I should say, he's just, like, dead in, like, 5 hits. It's incredible. The marksmanship procs are just wrecking him. It's a real issue that they're experiencing, even more so if they actually have the Elder Titan next to him.
You completely. I mean, it's... I don't know, the Drow just has more damage than the Void every single time, right? I don't think that Void can man-fight a Drow. It's one of the few heroes, right? The problem here is Void is not getting the Chrono on the Drow, which is what I was afraid of in the beginning of the draft. Like, oh, in theory, Void should be able to do this, but it's just not that easy in practice. And the way that Boom Esports drafted this is just really solid. Because they have a really good set of heroes that Void has to kind of overcome before they get to the Drow. Drow is like the final boss this game, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, and now we have FBZ with an Aegis, so he's like the raid boss this game. I mean, how do you kill this guy? He's got Refresher, 2 Ravages for you. Does he have the mana pool to use it? Yeah, right?
What? The Refresher?
Oh,
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think it's a Ravage. No. Wait, the Mortimer skits, okay.
Oh,
Actually, go on the Drow is really good with the Mortimer skits. They can actually kill the Drow. Finally, this is the chrono they were looking for the whole game. We still have a Ravage. However, without the damage of the Drow, can you still fight this? There's a buyback immediately for the Zeus. They actually stop the Void. FBZ is the real carry now. He just reached level 25. He should get the extra damage, and he's fighting against the World. But they managed to turn this around. Mikoto can now fight against everyone. He does manage to beat the Void, though, with FBZ killing off the Gush. He's still not taking that talent. FBZ, you madman. Get that extra damage. Cancel them all. He still has the Aegis. He still has the Refresher. He could actually Refresher in this life and Ravage the second one if he wants to. Let's go. Come on, FBZ. That's his first life. He's going to lose both, I guess.
I don't think he actually doesn't have enough to refresh and Ravage on his first life. He's so low.
No, he could have refreshed on the first life and then Ravage on the second one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, smart.
But he hasn't gone for the talent. Just take the 200 damage, FBZ, please.
20% CDR is not that bad either now that you have the Refresher. The problem is you need mana. He
went for the damage. See, that's what I mean. Just took him a long time.
And he's going to go straight into the death, so I am the carry now. As he's going to be looking to chunk this tier 3 tower. It's scary, dude. It's the Tide washing machine build.
Yeah, I mean, he's a real carry, dude. FBC has actually the same amount of farm as, or really close to the amount of farm that Tiny and Drow have. He is not afraid of your Void. They actually killed him alone, by the way. The Void had to die solely to the Tide Hunter and the Tiny.
Yeah, the 2 forces of nature, right? Just absolutely destroying him. Big, giant rock and shark.
Yeah, exactly. When you're stuck between a rock and a shark place, right?
I think that's how the saying goes.
Yeah, that is. I know. English is only my...
Oh, DDZ, they killed his courier, actually. It wasn't the full Refresher Shard, but it was the 2 Perseverances for him, so not
Refresher
really
orb,
that important.
Yeah.
Refresher Orb, yes. And,
and FBC's like, guys, I'm carrying now. Like, the caster said it, I get to do it. He buys Desolator immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Look how much he pushes now.
Fight me.
Tower with minus 11 armor, especially with the AC nearby. He is still maybe a little bit, of course, susceptible to DDZ, so he's wise to not back off, but there we go. The blink's back. Actually, no, Makoto blinking in. Goodbye, Jakiro. Okay.
Okay, I mean, that's Mozun gone, and that's actually pretty important because he's the best one at clearing the waves quickly with Magnifying.
Yeah.
They throw Void in. Okay, display.
No, the
counter Yules.
Oh, great job.
That's not the best BKB, though. I mean, there's not the best use of it. They stop Scotty and Dreamo Cell. That's your BKB wasted. In goes Mikoto. Doesn't seem to care. That's a great stomp to set up for these 2 kills. Yamate will fall together with Candy Loon, and now it's time to go for the rack.
GG?
GG.
No, they called it. Makoto jumped in there like, shh, they're sleeping. Very patient play there. But eventually, Boom Esports, they're just, there's too much. They're too farmed, 25k up here. The slow siege, and nicely done. Well played.
I think FBZ to me is the MVP of that game. Though I do agree that Dreamo Cell played quite decently. It's different for Drow. FBZ played out of his mind. Mikoto too, but FBZ was incredible this game. Being a secondary carry for their team, literally secondary, not tertiary, was super important to deal with Void mid-game. And we saw it. Boom Esports made a gamble. They said, can they have good enough coordination and good enough team fight to actually catch or drown the chrono every single time? The answer was no. And they win because of that.
Yep. In fact, I think they only caught her maybe 2 or 3 times.
Once. I think I want to say twice, actually. I want to say twice. Once at the end for sure, and I think once earlier, but not many times besides that.
Yeah. Well, a very good game. Boom, they just kind of take it pretty cleanly. Didn't really win bottom, but definitely drew and managed to get the farm they needed on Dreamo Cell, who was just pumping and damage near the end of the game. I mean, I say that, but really FBZ with 45,000 hero damage? Yep. Maybe he's the real MVP here.
Yeah, might be. We'll have to see, though, because we have another game here, my friends. SeekNStrike between Boom Esports and Star. And Star has a chance to get back the dignity they lost this game.
That is true, yes. As we are within our final match, and upcoming is our final game between Boom Esports and Team Stars. You guys are watching the Monster Energy Dota Summit 13 online with SeekNStrike and Avo. Stick around, guys. We'll be live with the draft of game number 2 in just a bit. See you then.